What's up, Tweener heads? Welcome back to another video. And today, I hate to be talking about this as a Federer fan, but it looks like Djokovic may be the greatest of all time. Yeah, I really did say that. I am one of the biggest Federer fans I know amongst my friends or amongst the tennis community. I mean, for goodness sake, I woke up early to buy these damn shoes. But I've been reading a lot of what the media has been saying lately after Djokovic had this amazing 2018 season with going from mid-20s to now finishing the year #1 in the year. I mean, people are calling it one of the greatest comebacks a player's ever had, especially completing the Golden Slam where he's won every single Masters 1000 tournament event. I mean, you can't argue against that. You really can't. Currently, the current Grand Slam total is Federer at 20, Nadal at 16, and then Djokovic at 14. He just tied Pete Sampras. I still remember the day that Federer tied Pete Sampras winning Wimbledon. That was a special moment for me, and for every Federer fan for that matter. But Novak's already at 14 Grand Slams. It looks like next year with Nadal being injured and everything, and him dealing with some health issues, it looks like Novak is a strong favorite amongst the big three to win another major next year. I don't know about Murray, I don't know about Wawrinka, but both of them still look strong for next year. It's hard to think about that when people are saying Novak is the greatest of all time just because of this year. I mean, no one's really been saying it lately, probably because he's been battling with health issues himself since the 2015-2016 season. He went winless without a major. Until this past year where he won two, Wimbledon and US Open. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said there. If you look at the stats, actually, Djokovic is the only one to have a winning record against Nadal and Federer. He leads Nadal's head-to-head, 27-25, and he leads Federer's head-to-head 25-22. I mean, it's really hard to debate that as well, even though Novak is below Federer and Nadal for most weeks #1. I think Federer still leads that category with 310 weeks. But it's really interesting to see how that works, because I was reading an article from Tennis World online, and they were saying how Novak was at risk of losing interest in tennis. What? I mean, how can you say that about a guy who just had one of the best years of his career? He talked about how he went from health issue to health issue, and during that time he was getting interest within nutrition, within yoga, within other activities that he actually loved. Within the article specifically said, according to the Russian tennis federation leader, and he said that it was caused by the big amount of matches that he was playing and that he started to lose interest. The emotional side of his game disappeared, and he was passionate about yoga, diet, and his body started to suffer. And with that being said, how can you... I mean, everyone goes through a period in their time when they start questioning whether or not their body's going to wilter out, it's going to lose their interest within the tennis, just like this article said. But Novak somehow turned it around and turned it into one of the best years of his career. When you look at it like that. If you look at it statistically, Novak has beaten Federer 12 times in a final, leads that count 12-6. Last time Federer beat Djokovic was in 2015 during the ATP finals in London during the round robin event. But the only thing Federer leads is the amount of weeks #1 and the amount of sets won total. Federer actually leads that count 70-67. And if you look at Nadal versus Novak's record, Novak leads 27-25 head-to-head. The finals, Novak leads 14-10 in finals. The only thing that Nadal leads is probably, Novak leads 27-25, leads finals 14-10, leads matches in Grand Slams 9-5, and he's won 3 of the last 5 matches against Nadal. I mean, and one of them was actually on clay, which is surprising because Nadal, I feel like, would just dominate the top 3. Now, if you look at the other side of it to think of how come Nadal's not in this conversation, which is probably one of the things you're thinking about right now, Nadal is the best clay court player of all time. No one can beat his record of the French Open titles. Nadal is the best clay court player of all time. I think he's also the second best of all time behind Federer in my mind, but when you look at his overall play, it only took him a certain amount of years to get to the hardcourt level where he won the Australian Open and started winning the US Open. Even then, most of his titles have come on clay. 80% of his titles have come on clay. That's the thing. Over 10 Grand Slam titles have come on clay. So that's why I think he's the greatest of all, one of the greatest of all time, but the greatest clay court player of all time, not all-around player. Federer is kind of like Pete Sampras. He knew his limits on clay, but he was still the best overall player on every surface. Same with Novak. Novak is best on hard court. Then he started winning Wimbledon, and then he also won a French Open a lot earlier than Federer did in his career. So what I'm basically saying is, when you rank them, it goes Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and that's in my mind. So I personally start to disagree with what Djokovic did, with what people have been saying about Novak Djokovic recently, that he is the greatest of all time. And I say that because he hasn't played as strong of a field like Federer and Nadal did during the early 2000s when Sampras, Agassi, and all of them were still around. Novak has a case to pass Nadal, and I think he actually might next year, because with Nadal, his body's starting to dwindle down again. And now that he actually had surgery for an injury, his knee injury that never required surgery, and he came back within 6 months. Very suspicious. But other than that, I think Novak has a good case to become number 2 overall in the Grand Slam list behind Federer. I think Federer is going to give it another 5 years. Not even. I think it's probably going to be about 2 or 3, and that's going to be one of the saddest days of my life. But I honestly think Djokovic could be second of all time. I don't think he is the greatest of all time, but that's just my opinion. Comment down below who is the greatest in your mind. Who is the greatest player that you have ever seen or is in the history of tennis. Comment down below who you think that is. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to Tweener Head Tennis as well. Make sure to check us out on all our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure to check us out on all those. If you want more behind the scenes content as well, go to tweenerheadtennis.com. We also have some cool merch on there. We also have hoodies, t-shirts, stickers. Make sure you check out all those as well if you want to buy some cool Tweener Head merch. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys soon. Thanks, guys.